Welcome, everyone, to I Have Some Recs, the bonus content with suggestions and testimonials from media as recommended by us, the hosts of I Have Some Notes. I'm Liam.
I'm Scott.
Greg.
And we've got some recommendations for you. Thank you for subscribing. If you're listening to this, you're on the Patreon, so start it off by just saying thank you. We recommend you keep doing that. So yeah, I'm going to start us off with my recommendation. It is an exceptional cartoon on Adult Swim. Might be a little hard to find here in Canada, but you can, if you look hard enough, you can find anything. But I don't know where people watch their Adult Swim cartoons. It's called Common Side Effects, and it's an animated series, but not really like a lot of other Adult Swim shows where it's like very weird and funny and cynical. It is like basically a science fiction series. Most notably, before I get into the elevator pitch for it, Mike Judge and Greg Daniels back together again at last. Not at all like King of the Hill, but if you like either of those guys' work or their work together collectively, this is a Mike Judge and Greg Daniels joint. So the premise of Common Side Effects is a sort of like knowledgeable, ambitious kind of renegade mycologist by the name of Marshall has discovered this blue mushroom that can basically cure any disease. Can just cure it all. You take the mushroom, you come back from death. And is trying to get the attention of pharmaceutical companies and the attention of people to be like, hey, I've found this thing, but also make sure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. Doesn't make sure it gets turned into a product where it's limited. Like he's very altruistic, and ends up bumping into a woman he went to high school with that he kind of had a crush on. A lapse of judgment shows her this mushroom, and it turns out she works for a pharmaceutical company. And sort of the two of them work to get more of these mushrooms, to figure out how they work, to grow more of them, all well. The DEA, the FBI, big pharma, even bigger, shadowier pharma, other renegade mycologists, all these different factions are kind of trying to figure out like who he is, what he's doing, what's going on with this, and then eventually exploit this mushroom. And it's just brilliant. It's exciting. It's a great science fiction premise. It asks a lot of questions about modern, the ethics of modern medical business. And to top it all off, it's kind of funny because it's a Mike Judge joint. The animation style is just very peculiar. I recommend Googling it just to get a look at the poster. They've got these huge heads and then like tiny little faces, and every character is like that. And it's not a really that like, it's funny, but it's not like a comedy. So the fact that it's animated so weird just kind of gives it this surreal mushroom trippy vibe. So yeah, if you're a sci-fi fan, Common Side Effects.
Yeah, you're not the first person I've heard recommend it. I haven't checked it out myself yet, but it's been rising on my list of to watch. Because
there's a number of like I think it's the first 10 minutes of the first episode is on YouTube as well as some clips. And just watch that first 10 minutes and you'll be like, yeah, I'm hooked. It really reminds me of the kind of stories that get published in Image Comics, where they're just like, hey, we got this great high concept sci-fi idea. Here's some money. Do your work. We're Image Comics. The only other place I could see this story really flourishing would be maybe a novel or a comic series.
Interesting. Well, I will take us away from the realm of cartoons into the realm of really weird movies. Sunita and I the other day were cruising around looking for something kind of heisty to watch. Nita was in the mood for something light. She loves a good heist. So we went and started cruising through on Canopy to see what was in their like crime and thriller section. And we stumbled upon something called the Linguini incident. It's from 1991. It is directed by Richard Shepard. It was done on just a shoestring budget. But, and this was the thing that hooked us, it stars David Bowie. And we were like, okay, we're giving this a try. It is, you guys, this bizarre, absurdist, Coen-esque fiasco that is centered around these two characters who decide they're going to steal from this like Dali-inspired restaurant that they work at. And the two main characters are Rosanna Arquette plays this woman who's obsessed with Harry Houdini and wants to be an escape artist. And in order to get the money to buy Houdini's mistress's ring, she hits upon this idea to rob the place. Meanwhile, David Bowie is trying to trick her into a green card marriage, so he goes along with it. And I'm not going to spoil anything beyond that. That's basically the setup. But like her best friend is gets roped into the heist, and she's trying to like design this line of self-defense lingerie for women. It's just like all of these bizarre characters in this bizarre environment, and suffice to say, the escape artistry comes into it before the end. Like it's this weird, like done on a budget movie with this surprisingly good cast playing these bizarre characters. It was so weird. And we were both very charmed by it. So I'm under the impression there are two versions of it. There's a lesser version that's been around for a while, and the one on Canopy I think is a director's cut. That's the one we watched. It was quite enjoyable. Again, available for free on Canopy right now. You can probably find it elsewhere. It's the Linguini incident. David Bowie trying to trap an escape artist in a green card marriage. Go check it out.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it does sound wild. It's been added to my Letterboxd watch list.
Yeah, I rated it 3.5 stars.
Something like that.
Yeah, I rated it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, and I think I say in my review, I'm not sure that it's good, but it was very enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm just envious that you take a chance on something like that, and I guess it's the David Bowie of it all. But that the title turns me off, I guess.
Here's the thing: like Linguini, there's no Linguini in the story. We have no idea why it's called the Linguini incident. Like it's just this, it's this nonsensical title because it has nothing to do with what happens.
Yeah, it seems, and I'm glad it's not this, but it seems like one of those things that's like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's one of those titles that's just too like weird and clever. Like it's really trying to get your attention. Like the one that always kind of irked me was there was a movie a couple years ago called The Happy Time Murders.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I just based on that title, I don't want to watch this because that seems hacky and weird and shitty. And the Linguini incident has that kind of like unfunny person trying to be funny irreverence that I generally find quite off-putting. And so I guess that's why they say don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a movie by its title. I'm definitely going to check this out. But
yeah, we were looking for
Licorice Pizza. It's sort of the same thing.
Yeah, we were looking for something light. The fact David Bowie was in it caught our attention, and we were not disappointed. Again, it's not high art. I'm not even sure that I would quantify it as good, but it is definitely worth a watch. It's got like cult classic vibes running through it. And David Bowie's just delightful. So,
also for what it's worth, Greg, Licorice Pizza is the name of a record store chain that sold vinyl records. I guess the term licorice pizza refers to a vinyl record. So, but I know what you mean. That's a good example of like, isn't this quirky and weird? Those two words don't go together.
Yeah. Well, I want to tell you, Aaron and I are coming up on our 10-year anniversary, this fall. And this is where we're at, in our marriage. Aaron just goes out and I tell her, go buy me a book. And she buys me a book and I sight unseen for me, and she is hitting it out of the park with books I quite love. I recently read This Is How You Lose the Time War, which is a story about two enemies in a time war who are writing letters to one another. She bought me Orbital, which is this beautiful, poetic novel about living on the International Space Station. And most recently, she got me something that was nonfiction, which is called Hope in the Dark, Untold Histories, Wild Possibilities by an activist named Rebecca Solnit. And this book is, I think, something that I almost needed to read because I take in a whole lot of news, which, as we know, is not positive. I'm at a stage in my life right now where I'm just I'm tired of hearing about how negative the world is, and I'm in a process of trying to understand as best I can what the answers are, what the antidote is to everything that is afflicting us. And Hope in the Dark may not have a lot of answers, but it is, I think, instructional. And what I took out of it is how to get yourself into the mind space of where you might need to be in order to answer those questions. It's largely, it was a book written in 2004 at kind of like the height of the Bush era, and then republished in 2016 with some footnotes and new forward and stuff. So it's kind of recontextualized it a little bit for the modern era, but it's still obviously 2016. That's only like the cusp of the Trump era, right? But a lot of the book talks about historical events that need to be sort of recontextualized in how people react to tragedy, oppression, things like that. Like one of the best examples is how people responded after Hurricane Katrina, right? Like when you saw the news, you'd think that people were stepping all over each other and just looting like crazy or whatever. But in reality, a lot of that was the communities coming together to help one another and make sure that resources and food and water and things like that got delivered to the people that needed it most. The idea being that humanity has a lot more altruism underneath our skin than maybe what is portrayed. And if I may, I want to read a quick passage here, just because it talks a little bit about the movie industry. So I think it's kind of like relevant to our podcast. She writes, Hollywood movies and too many government pandemic plans still presume that most of us are cowards or brutes, that we panic, trample each other, rampage, or freeze helplessly in moments of crisis and chaos. Most of us believe this, even though it is slander against the species, and an obliteration of what actually happens, and a crippling blow to our ability to prepare for disasters. Hollywood likes this view because it paves the way for movies starring some Superman in the foreground and hordes of stampeding, screaming extras. Without stupid, helpless people to save, heroes become unnecessary. Or rather, without them, it turns out that we are all heroes, even if distinctly unstereotypical ones. Governments like the Grim view for a similar reason. It justifies their existence as repressive, controlling, hostile forces rather than kind with brave and powerful citizenries. So, yeah, it's passages like that just kind of give me a different perspective to start finding some of the answers that I'm looking for. What it, as I said earlier, what the antidote is for what ails our society that seems like it is ever crumbling faster and faster. So I highly recommend reading Hope in the Dark, especially if you're like me and you're looking for a salve.
That's incredible. That's
nice.
I very much could use that because I'm quite cynical about this sort of stuff. Not that we're all brutes and cowards, but that there's a troubling number of them to the point where those of us who aren't brutes and cowards are going to get overrun. And we're also recording this episode after we just discussed Andor for 2 hours and talking about sacrifice and what it takes to build the future we want. That it seems like it'd be complimentary reading to seasons 1 and 2 of Andor.
Yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah. Well, with that, it's been another episode of I Have Some Recs. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of the Patreon. Hope to see you in the Discord, and hope to see you again. You know what? If you're on any of the social media, hit us up with your recommendations. That'd be maybe something we could add to this. I just thought of this now. Listener comments on I Have Some Notes. Listener recommendations on I Have Some Recs. So if you want a rec that you want us to rec on your behalf, send it our way. Until then, I'm Liam.
I'm Scott.
I'm Greg. Bye.
Bye.